Engineering, Bangalore. On behalf of the organizing committee of CCTV Research Center, we welcome you all to the second webinar of the webinar series 2021, hosted by the Center for CCTV Research, RV College of Engineering. CCTV Research Center is a multi-stakeholder research facility with a vision of bridging the gap in knowledge, practice, protocols, testing, experiments, training, certification, and expertise in video surveillance. The center aims to work on research aspects of CCTV to develop intelligent and smart solutions for video surveillance. This multi-stakeholder research facility is a consortium of academic and industrial partners coming together to create standardized protocols for CCTV surveillance. It provides skill developments. It aims to provide skill developments and an end-to-end seamless service with respect to CCTV deployments. Dear participants, in line with the vision of the center, today's webinar is on the 3 missing pieces of CCTV: auditing, smart backup, and standardized intelligent reporting. And to deliver this webinar, we have with us Mr. Gautam Goradia. Mr. Gautam D. Goradia is the CEO and MD of Higher Grip Software, a software product company based out of Mumbai. His company has for the past several years been working on the world's only CCTV video footage auditing, smart backup, and intelligent reporting software, ComSir, the missing piece of CCTV. ComSir is a complete workflow for CCTV that wakes up CCTV cameras, which unfortunately remain today as fit and forget. Mr. Gautam has spoken and continues to speak at various platforms as how users must make optimal use of surveillance video. He has spoken at Interpol events in Singapore on the same subject, including the angle of creating a new profession of CCTV video footage auditors. He also made a presentation to Scotland Yard after the London terror attack. Mr. Gautam has over 35 years of international business experience. He successfully ran his family textiles business that climbed up to be one of the largest home textiles exporters in India. With a background in commerce and law, Mr. Gautam is keenly interested in languages, photography, and personal fitness. A respected figure in business and social circles, he has been associated with the Rotary Club for many years, was the Chair Government Relationship, Security, Fire and Safety Association of India. He is on the Board of Governors of the International Institute of Safety and Security Management. An ASIS member, is part of the core team of the Center for CCTV Research, Bengaluru. Mr. Gautam is a complete family man, loves to spend time with his wife, 2 wonderful daughters, and 2 Great Danes. We welcome you, sir. Before anything,
yeah, go ahead.
Before we start the session, there are few rules that I would like to our participants to note. All your mics are muted. Please post your queries in the chat box. We will address these queries towards the end of the session. Feedback link will be provided at the end of the session. And the participation certificate will be given to you within 8 to 10 working days after this webinar. So before anything else, we welcome you, sir. We'll start this session. Please tell us something about the journey of ComSir. Why the name ComSir? You come from a textile business. What led you to creating a product like ComSir?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Jai Hind. Thank you, Dr. Azra, for the kind words. Before I answer your question, let me thank the Center for CCTV Research for giving me this opportunity. It is a very proud moment for us that I am part, and my company is part of the core team of the center. And it is a great pleasure for me to address this August gathering, although it's virtual, but these are the times. It will be my endeavor that by the end of this session, everyone will be convinced that CCTV cameras and other video surveillance systems need to be used optimally in order that maximum benefits and return on investment are achieved by one and all. So let me answer your question and begin by explaining the name ComSir, which is a proudly made in India software for global consumption and the world's only CCTV video footage auditing, smart backup, and standardized intelligent incident reporting software, which we believe are the three missing pieces of CCTV, and which is what the topic is all about today. To give you some analogies and take this a little further, just like Google was the missing piece of the internet, or just like MS Office standardizes the way people communicate in terms of writing documents, creating presentations, emails, ComSir standardizes the way every user of CCTV should interact with surveillance video, irrespective of the brand of the camera or the video management system. In fact, one of the beauties of ComSir is that it works with existing cameras and video management systems as a stack on top of live or recorded video feed. So since your question was about the history of ComSir, so way back in 2013, around that time, we stumbled upon the idea that CCTV and video surveillance were not even a fraction of what things could actually be. You know, we found them to be sort of incomplete, so to speak. So the com from ComSir comes from the word complete, and the sir of ComSir comes from the word surveillance. So we believe that when you add ComSir to your existing surveillance system, it completes any video surveillance initiative. We're now in 2021, and I'm happy to say that 8 years later, people are now beginning to take these three missing pieces seriously. Dr. On a lighter note, you must have heard of this saying that first they ignore you, and they did. Then they laugh at you. They did that as well. Then they fight with you. They tried that as well. Then you win. That's where we are today. Having said that, this journey of 8 years has not been easy. And no journey can be easy when you're trying to create something new, something so different, something that people have never heard of, something that's so disruptive. And when you're trying to build a completely new category, never heard before. However, when you do something with passion, perseverance, honesty, and belief, and keeping the larger and broader picture in view, in this case of helping to make the world a safer place, nothing can stop you. So in this journey, Dr. Azra, of ComSir, we made some great friends. So many people from the police, law enforcement agencies, defense forces, and not just from India, from many countries across the world. And as you rightly mentioned, I had the opportunity to present ComSir twice at the Interpol World events in Singapore, and also presented ComSir to Scotland Yard after the London terror attack. We've also made some great friends from industry, again from all over the world. And what we did was, because we were building a software product, and when you build a software product, you have to imagine what people would need. It's not like giving a service to somebody where you've received instructions and you're following those instructions. And when you're building a software product purely from a pain point that you think exists and others do not, the battle becomes even more difficult. But you have to go on. And because you want to build a product that is global in nature, you have to look at cultures. You have to meet different people across the world. And that is what we did in these last 8 years. So success does not necessarily mean whether we've reached 1,000 crores or whether we've become $100 million company or $1 billion company. We will get there. What is important is, what is the foundation that we are trying to create? What have we built so far? And when the foundation is very, very strong, you can't be knocked off. So that is how ComSir has reached this stage, both in terms of the product and the story, both of which are today in perfect sync. If you see the events page on our website, you will see that we participated in tens, maybe hundreds of events. And personally, I must have met hundreds of people, maybe in thousands, over these long 8 years across the world. And each of these meetings has taught us something, and we quickly incorporated that in ComSir and made it into a wonderful product that people will love to use. It would be right for me to say here today that ComSir is today, now after these 8 years, being looked at very seriously by governments, industry, and even academia. I would not hesitate in stating that it was an honor for us to sign the MOU with a prestigious organization, university like the Army College of Engineering yesterday, which is where the Center for CCTV Research is housed. I would also like to mention here that under a MOU with the Rashtriya Raksha University, based in Gandhinagar, a university, a policing university of national importance, we have released courses to train people to become CCTV video footage auditors and investigators. We believe that this new course will lead to great job creation in the country. Imagine there are about 40,000-50,000 people leaving the armed forces every year. Retired people from the police, paramilitary, defense forces, people who retire at 58 and 60 years of age and have so much left to give to society. Why can't these people start a new innings of becoming CCTV video footage auditors and even start new businesses of CCTV video footage auditing services? The idea of all this is to ensure, and we will see this when we go ahead, is to ensure that CCTV cameras do not sleep anymore. They are not supposed to sleep. We need to wake them up. And the only way to wake them up, completely, is through the process of auditing. The idea is for people to realize themselves that they can achieve so much simply by seeing what the camera saw as a standard operating procedure. You mentioned that, yes, I come from a textiles background. Yeah, sure. And that is true. Our family was one of the most respected exporters of home textiles for many years. And in fact, the original firm, which was started by my grandfather, would have completed over 100 years. And my tryst with software actually began from my textiles firm many years ago when we built an ERP and a CRM for captive use. I do not know how to code, but I can imagine and I can put things in place. And I think that is required You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to be somebody who knows languages to be able to create a solution that is facing you in the face, and a solution that will take away global pain points. But sometimes I do wish that I introduced those products in the market. Anyway, my real journey with software began when I was solving a problem for my wife. Uh, um, she's a quizzer. She's a great quiz master. And she wanted to have her own data bank of question answers. And that is what led me to make the first product. And the product was called Yo Questions. And our brand was Yo, and still continues to be. So YO, Yo. And while it sounds cool and fashionable and all that, Yo actually means your own. So it's everything about being personalized. So we built, many years ago, we built a wonderful tool called Yo Questions, which is a fantastic question answer authoring tool and a test prep tool. And you will see it come out soon. So we've been very ahead of our times. And we built a wonderful software for helping people to improve their vocabulary. So we called it Yo Vocab. And we did a very fine marketing arrangement with Reader's Digest and also with HCL Computers when they bundled the software in many years ago. We also created a wonderful software for people to create their own humor banks and called it Yo Jokes. And I'm very proud to tell you that Yo Jokes, an adaptation of it, was again marketed with in collaboration with Reader's Digest, with cartoons from none other than Mr. R.K. Lakshman and Mr. Mario Miranda. So we've been doing lots of things. We also did some fantastic board games and cards. And, you know, when I got a little less active in the textiles business, I wanted to pursue all these things which I was very passionate about. And that led me to finally stumble upon ComSir. And as you can see, it has been quite a journey. And as I said earlier, we've been ahead of our times. But I believe that for ComSir, the time is here and now. Once again, I'd like to reiterate that the Made in India story and the Atmanirbhar Bharat story, and you will agree with me, Dr. Azra, and to whoever's on this webinar, that when it comes to national security, we cannot take chances. So when it comes to national security, and I'll speak about our national service in a minute, being made in India product, there is absolutely no question of any backdoor entry to any data. We've seen what's been happening to some camera companies across the world, how they're being banned. But this is a proudly made in India product that we hope to see it being used across the world. I would like to state here that recently it has been in the news that many countries have requested, and our Honorable Prime Minister is very rightly so, offered the CoWIN app to the world. This is where our vision lies, offering ComSir to the world to enhance global safety and also to standardize the way people use video surveillance. We will discuss a little later when we get into some use cases that you should consider ComSir to be like a vaccine. Now, while these days, I mean, while for COVID, you're supposed to take 2 jabs, but with ComSir, you can't do that. You have to continuously keep on monitoring and auditing and continuous investigation to ensure that you have continuous improvement or Kaizen through this very rich, visually rich source of information. Finally, I'd like to say that we have lots and lots of white papers that have been published. And yeah, I guess I hope that I've answered your question in the time allocated to me. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bob, that was quite a story. Now let's get back to ComSir and the 3 missing pieces of CCTV, which is what today's topic is all about. Let's start with the first one. Nobody in the video surveillance industry has ever spoken about auditing CCTV footage. We all have heard about editing, but never auditing.
Yeah.
How did this come about, sir? Please tell us what auditing CCTV footage is and why have you been laying so much importance on auditing CCTV footage by every user of CCTV as a standard operating procedure? And yes, please let us also have your views on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning.
Yeah, sure, sure. So in a minute, I will address the second part, which is about AI and machine learning and so on, which are great technologies, no doubt about that. But we must remember that just because a computer can beat a human in a game of chess, it doesn't mean that AI can solve every problem. So we have to look at AI uh, in a different context, and we like to refer to AI as not artificial intelligence, but as augmented intelligence, where humans and machines work together for best results. So, what is auditing about? You asked me, we've heard about editing, not about auditing. Very true. And if you go back, uh, and anybody goes back and takes a look at all the videos that we put up on YouTube in these last so many years, even we, I must admit, did not use the word auditing. I continue to maintain that you have to see what the camera saw as an SOP. But we use the word reviewing all the time, or maybe for 4 years, we never used the word auditing. And I remember very specifically that it was at a banking event. At a banking event, one bank official came to me, looked at the software and says, "Oh, Mr. Guradia, this is fantastic. You are helping us to audit the entire day's data in a few minutes." And I said, "Oh my God, this really is auditing." And believe me, it was a nightmare for us because the marketing material, all the hard copies and the website and everything had to be rebranded. So when we realized that this was the correct word to go with, it is auditing. And that's how the word auditing was born. And, uh, you know, auditing, if you see the dictionary meaning, it's a very detailed examination of anything. And generally, we look at auditing in terms of auditing books of accounts, auditing processes, and so on. But nobody has ever bothered to look at video surveillance footage as a source of information which is lying there to be discovered. And remember, when you're auditing something, you do not know what you will discover. It is like the discovery of the unknown. And in a minute, I will request that I be allowed to share my screen. But think of it like this. Everybody is auditing images today. Everybody in the world is auditing images today without even realizing that they're auditing. Let me explain to you. Let's take this phone. Yeah? We all use this phone besides talking. We all use this phone to take photographs. And today it's not uncommon for people to take 10, 20, 50, 100, 200 photographs, depending on what occasion you are at. Marriage, easily. So while you may have a different set of phones and different brands and so on, what is the one common thing that everybody in the world does without exception after taking those 200 photographs? You will swipe your screen 200 times. If it's 200 photographs, you will swipe your screen 200 times without exception. And guess why? Because number one, technology. Technology made it easy for you to go through those photographs quickly. You don't have to go to a studio anymore and wait for 7 days to get those pictures. They're right here. And number two, which is very important, and we'll try it out with the audience, although I can't see them. Number two is benefit. The benefit of seeing the scene, the photo, your family, the selfie, the memory. People do things when there are benefits. Anybody. I am here because there is a benefit of whatever kind. I want knowledge dissemination. There's a benefit. People are here because they want to learn something new. There is a benefit. So people do things when there are benefits. So if I were to announce and see why you need to look at, why you need to audit. So if I were to announce a prize just now, that any photograph shot by somebody would, for example, fetch a 50 lakh rupee prize. But there is a caveat. There is a caveat that you are allowed to shoot the photograph, but you're not allowed to see it. Now, if you're not allowed to see it, how will you know which is the best photo? Auditing is like that. And extrapolate this same philosophy to CCTV cameras. They are seeing 24/7 by 365, they are taking photographs. How is the video made? Images. The images come together in 25 frames per second, and that's how you see a movie. So essentially they're images. And they've got so much of information. Now imagine that if there was a technology that allowed you to go through 24 hours of footage in as little as maybe 24 minutes in a day, at least to get a helicopter view of you and viewing multiple cameras. And the benefits out of that would be crime prevention, fraud prevention, loss prevention, better operational efficiency, business risk mitigation, business continuity, and over a period of time, even saving on insurance premium. Should you be auditing or not? Why do I say insurance premium? I say insurance premium, premium because think of it like the no claim bonus that we are all used to when we reinsure our cars every year. If you haven't had an accident and don't claim anything from an insurance company, you're entitled to as much as a 40% no claim bonus. Think of it exactly in the same way. If you're a jeweler, for example, you're paying a lot of insurance, because insurance is an accrual science that is based on risk perception. Now, if your risk comes down and you can prove to your insurance company that because you have a tool now that allows you to go through your footage, and because you've gone through the footage, you begin to discover things. And the more you discover, the quicker the corrective and preventive action leading to continuous improvement. Your insurance company would be happy to bring the insurance premium because it knows that there is going to be lesser amount of claims. So that is what auditing is all about. So let's look at, let me share my screen now and take you through a little bit of our website. Yeah. I hope the screen is visible, Dr. Azra.
Yes, sir. We are seeing the website.
Wonderful.
We are able to see.
Wonderful. Yes, yes, yes. So this is the harsh truth that CCTV footage has actually turned into garbage across the world. And let me give you some numbers. There is an interesting report by Motorola Avigilon that in the next 5 years or so, I think it's 2025, there will be 45 billion, if I'm not incorrect, cameras on the face of this earth. That's a lot of cameras. That's almost about 6 cameras per human. And I can assure you that when mankind goes and lives on the different planets in our solar system, the cameras will also follow there. So this is a source of information that will not go away. But the problem is that we have allowed CCTV footage to become garbage, because so far there has not been any tool that can allow somebody to quickly go through all this data. I don't blame people, because nobody thought of the value that's lying hidden there. It's all hidden there. It's huge value. You need actionable insights out of it. From this information, you want actionable intelligence. So what CCTV has actually become in the world today is fit and forget. And people will generally, across the world, people generally look at footage. Let me take this to you next page so you're not bothered with the video. People look at footage generally when something goes wrong, which is where I also have another problem. Because how can somebody be so sure that nothing went wrong? Anything that was underreported or not reported at all will never come to light. It's happened, but will never come to light. Now that can only be discovered through the process of auditing. I would, at this point of time, like to answer the second part of your question, which is about my thoughts on artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, facial recognition. And I would like to share some research with everybody here. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and their challenges. ACLU warns against fever screening tools for coronavirus. The ugly t-shirt makes you invisible to facial recognition. Some shirts hide you from cameras. Fever detection cameras to fight coronavirus. Experts say they don't work. I can go on and on and on. Algorithms, 50% of companies spend between 8 and 90 days deploying a single AI model. Smart doorbells may be fun, but we don't know who's using your face. So this is just about facial recognition. Just look at the amount of data that we've got. Just look at the amount of data that we've got on the challenges. I'm not saying they are bad, but they are not the panacea. Okay, they are not the ultimate tool that we cannot live without. And I will prove it to you. Hackers. Artificial intelligence cannot yet pass a high school math test. And as I said, winning a chess game and video surveillance are two different animals. We should not compare them. The problem with AI, machines are learning things but cannot understand them. Look at this. Look at the amount of research. Facial recognition and its challenges. And the most important part of all of this, Dr. Azra, is all of these technologies can only do what they have been programmed for. What about the rest? So if it's perimeter security, people will come up with solutions good for them, and good solutions, nothing against it. That if there is something which within the perimeter, close to the perimeter, it will throw up an alert, which is fair. That should be done, especially in critical locations. There should be an alert, even if there are false alerts, and false alerts can be tons and tons and tons of false alerts. But if it's a critical installation, even those false alerts are acceptable. But what do people do? Those false alerts can come from animals, for example. So now people are trying to write algorithms that will only recognize humans and not animals. I think that's a mistake. Why is it a mistake? Because what stops a terrorist from strapping, and these are actual cases, So I'm not making up anything. What stops a terrorist from strapping a bomb on an animal, on a donkey, and sending tens of donkeys to the perimeter? And what will your algorithm do at that time? It will not be able to detect because it was not programmed to do. It was programmed to remove the animal from the imagery and only give an alert if there was a human. Now, just like I'm saying that AI and ML are not the panacea, I'm also saying that auditing is not the panacea for everything. It is not the medicine for everything. But it certainly is a very, very strong supportive technology. Because remember, you need, when as I said earlier, you can only program, you can only discover through AI and video analytics only things that it has been programmed for. What about the rest? You have to detect it yourself. Number one. Number two, think about the number of people that are users of video surveillance cameras, as opposed to the number of people who will actually be able to afford these technologies, because these technologies do not come cheap. They come with a lot of baggage. They come with baggage of money. They come with baggage of infrastructure. They come with baggage of huge processing power. So what about the rest of the people? Are they not entitled to have the same level of safety and security? So when COVID was in, rampant last year, everybody went after algorithm-based solutions because everybody somehow gets enamored by red boxes and green boxes and blue boxes. Okay, and just because you see a green and blue box, what is that camera going to do? First of all, think of a location which has just 100 cameras, just 100. I can assure you that there are very, very, very few establishments that will have such kind of algorithm-based systems written per camera, because the cost is always per camera. Now, if you have 100 cameras and just 100 people working on a shop floor, and you've got social distancing norms, which are now changing. So your norm was 6 feet. So at 6 feet, it becomes a green box. At 5.5 feet, becomes a red box. Then again, it becomes a green box. Then it becomes a red box. And every time the system keeps on throwing up some kind of alert or sending the data to the dashboard. And guess who looks at the dashboard? Human. So what is the human going to do anyway when he sees those green box and red boxes? Are there going to be a fire of bullets from those cameras? So just because people said temperature measuring, go to a store even today, and there will be somebody who wants to measure your temperature. Ask that person, what is the right temperature? And does it actually work? No, but because there is a herd mentality, people will do it. Let's look at the mask. When algorithm-based systems were written to detect masks. Now that only happens at an entry point. So I enter at an entry point with my mask, which I'm fine, because if I don't have a mask, maybe I'm penalized by my company. But the moment I'm away from my camera, I take away my mask. Now what? So what did that serve me? Nothing. Because if I have come with an intention of causing trouble, and I am wearing a mask now, I go inside, take away my mask, and start spitting. There have been cases like this, spitting actually. So how do you solve these kind of issues? Now, these kind of issues can only be detected through an auditing process. Set your process, set your rules, set your guidelines, and audit them. Again, as I said, it is not a panacea. Many technologies have to come together, but you cannot take away the angle of the human. You cannot take away the importance of auditing. Because the unfortunate part is that people want solutions that don't involve humans. Come on. I mean, who built those solutions? Humans. Who's going to look at the alert? Humans. Who's going to take the next step? Humans. At the border, if somebody has to pull the trigger, who's going to pull the trigger? Human. In most cases. So what are we trying to achieve? Let's take the case. I have a few use cases that I want to quickly speak about. And I'll take another 5-6 minutes. I hope that's okay, Dr. Azra. I want to speak about
Yes,
the incident in Jammu of the attack through the drones. Now, I'm not suggesting that auditing of CCTV is the only solution to prevent these kind of attacks, but it is a great supportive technology, because if you look at what was reported in the press, not that they would have been able to detect those drones. See, most of the cameras were facing the road, most of them. Now they will need to have some kind of cameras that are facing the skies as well. However, that may not be the perfect solution. I'm admitting that may not be the perfect solution, because you can have very small drones which may not be detected by these cameras. Having said that, when it comes to national security, you have to do everything possible. So to prevent a drone, there are different kinds of technologies of jamming them and this, that, and the other. CCTV by itself is not the right technology by itself, but it's a great supportive technology. It's an augmentation protocol. Now, having said that, if you look at instances, these were not terror cases or attack cases. If you look at instances where Dubai airport was shut down, Gatwick airport was shut down, London airport was shut down, causing losses of millions of dollars. Who recognized that there were some drones there? Humans, police, air traffic controllers. So how I be wanting to take away the angle of human efficiency, human ingenuity, human eye, human brain? Let me talk about the attack that took place in Pathankot. After the investigation, it was proven that and this is reported in the media, that the route that the terrorists took or the intruders took, on that route, there were several petrol pumps that had cameras, several of them. And probably the NIA or whichever investigative agency was involved, when they went and looked at the footage, some of them cameras were not working, very easy to detect during an audit process. Some of them did not record, again, very easy. You should have a smart backup mechanism, which we will speak about. But the main point is that when people are coming to attack an Air Force base, they don't do that on day one. They would have carried out so many recce's. They would have even seen whether the route is correct. Who knows what kind of equipment they came with? Who knows who they met? All that was visible by the cameras, was seen by the cameras. All it needs is somebody to come in the morning, a petrol pump owner comes in the morning, looks at his night's footage, not from a perspective of national security, from his own perspective, that how many cars came into my petrol pump, did my attendants attend them, have they collected money from them, is it more or less tallying with the sale that they are showing? So within that process itself, they perhaps would have seen something fishy going on. Because let me tell you, whatever some of the industry players may say, that we will show you suspicious movement, we will show you when, any kind of loitering is considered to be suspicious by algorithm-based systems. How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me. How can loitering just be considered to be suspicious? But you audit, and if you have the right tool to audit, it will even show you fine body language. Let me talk about the case of the INS Vikrant, where hard drives were stolen from the INS Vikrant. Now, do you think again that they did it on day one? Of course not. The cameras would have seen them. A simple audit would have helped discover. Let's talk about the terror attack that took place in New Zealand at the mosque. Very sad indeed. And for those of you who've seen that video, I don't think it's available anymore, but those of you who saw it would have realized that the perpetrator of the crime took just about a minute and a half to get into the mosque, and he knew exactly where he could cause maximum damage, where to go straight, where to turn right, where to turn left. And in less than 2 minutes, he killed over 50 innocent people who were there to pray. After the investigation, what did it show? It showed that the perpetrator of the crime had visited the Al Noor Mosque several times dressed as a worker in workman's clothes. All it required was a simple audit process at the end of the day, and the devotees there itself would have realized that this person is not a one amongst us. And perhaps that terror attack could have been prevented. So that is the power of auditing. That is the power of seeing what the camera saw. So I guess, I guess more or less I've covered that part. I would like to speak about the sad incident that took place at Gurugram. So let me just end by speaking about that. I don't think I have any other notes, but you know, wherever, whether it's coastal security, whether it's perimeter security, you have to audit. There is no way beyond, no option but to audit. And why am I so convinced? All of you who are on this webinar would remember the horrific incident that took place at a school in Gurugram 2-3 years ago, 2017, if I'm not mistaken, where a little boy lost his life. And there was a lot of hue and cry, and national television and papers and boards and governments, they all went and said that you have to increase the number of cameras at schools. I am all for it. Yes, you must have adequate number of cameras. And yes, you must have good quality cameras. But yes, you must audit, because cameras are only a source of information. So what we did is we sent out recommendations to our Honorable Prime Minister and to every Chief Minister of the country. I'm happy to tell you that one state, the state of Chhattisgarh, and Raipur as a district, the district magistrate at that point of time, seemingly based, I do not know, seemingly based on the recommendations that we sent, passed this order. Please see it. I'm going to read it out. In an order issued to all the government and private schools, Collector O.P. Chaudhary has asked principals and headmasters to audit CCTV footage on a daily basis and monitor the movements of children, school staff, and peons. I can say without doubt and hesitation that we are the people who coined the term to audit CCTV footage as a standard operating procedure. So seemingly based on our recommendation, this order seems to have been passed. Schools should audit CCTV video on a daily basis multiple times to ensure that there was no violation of rules or wastage of resources. See, CCTV should not only be looked as a tool just to prevent crime. It's as much for wastage of resources, as I spoke earlier, operational efficiency, right? Everything that the cameras are seeing. And the third interesting part is, which validates what we have been saying about the three missing pieces, that it must be ensured that CCTV footage is stored well as part of disaster recovery so that the school has a record in case of theft or damage to cameras. Now, this is an order from a district magistrate. It just needs to be enforced. But audit, I'm not saying you need to buy our software to do that. Auditing is important. And while I'm on that, I'd like to end by saying that when everybody starts auditing, what it will lead to is community policing and crowdsourced surveillance, because that is the need of the hour. A city like Mumbai still has about 7,000 cameras, video feed of which goes to the police commissioner, to a central command, and they're adding another 5,000 cameras. How can you cover a city like Mumbai in 10,000 cameras? It probably requires 10 lakh cameras or even more. And the beauty is that those 10 lakh cameras are existing. I am not suggesting that take the 10 lakh cameras from private enterprise and send them to the local police station. No, because they will not have situational awareness. They will not have the manpower to look at it, even without software. Each person must become responsible for his own auditing. Audit your own CCTV cameras, because you have the best situational awareness. Only you will know what is right and what is wrong at your location. And why should you not do it? Go to our website, and here you can download the free home version of our software. Use it at your home, use it at your housing complex. Reduce the burden of the police, because who knows, one of you, one of us may suddenly observe something that might prevent a terrible crime. Finally, what we need to do when we speak, of course, about the other two is once you've audited, please change and standardize, because everything I'm speaking about is about standardization. Standardize the CCTV signage across the world. Let's start with India. One color, one size, one strong, powerful message. For everyone's safety, we check CCTV footage every day. सबकी सुरक्षा के लिए हम CCTV वीडियो फुटेज की जांच रोज करते हैं. So one side is English, one side is the regional language of the state. How difficult is it? Why should we have non-standardization? Because the fact of the matter is that even Google this, you'll see it. Even with all the signage that you've got available, problems are not being solved as yet. So fundamentally, there is something missing. And we believe that one of those acts is auditing. So I hope I've answered your question, Dr. Asra.
Yes, sir. We agree, and I think all our participants will agree with me that auditing indeed must become a de facto standard, part of video surveillance. Let's now discuss the other two pieces, that is smart backup and standardized intelligent reporting. Please throw some light on that, sir.
Yeah, sure. It's pretty exhausting. I'm sorry, I got a little carried away too, but I'm so passionate about this whole thing. So let's talk about the smart backup. Let me get back to my website. Smart backup, not just backup, smart backup. What do I mean by smart backup? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not find anywhere in all the research that we've done in these last 8 years, I cannot find a single article which has a scientific reason. Careful word, I'm using it very carefully. Which has a scientific reason as to why some people store their footage for 1 day, as little as 1 day. Some don't store it at all. 3 days, 7 days, 15 days, 1 month, 60 days, 90 days, 180 days now in some Middle East countries. What is the scientific reason behind it? Nothing. So CCTV footage today is stored across the world because A, can be mandated like the Middle East countries. But again, there's no science behind it. It's the science is, or the thought process is, 180 days is sufficient. That's the thought process. Maybe if anything has to be reported, it will be reported in 180 days. But how do you even know that it is written and it's still there? And how do you know? I can give you the instance of a child. Since we spoke about schools, I can give you an instance about a child at a school in Noida, a good school, who was continuously abused by a school teacher for 4 years. So either the child didn't know what was happening, the boy, either he didn't know what was happening, he was threatened, he was too scared for 4 years. And for 4 years, who knows where that teacher took the kid? And the cameras were watching. Now, even if you had the footage for 180 days, the footage is gone. So you should not only have backup by number of days, but you should have backup by relevance. If you're auditing every day and you find something every day, so I'm not suggesting that, backup for eternity, because that won't be possible. But if you're auditing every day and you find audit findings reveal something, as I said, it's the discovery of the unknown, please tag it, just like you don't want to delete some important memories from your phone or from your camera or from your computer. In the same way, tag it and please create an institutional library. Think about from Nalanda, that's as far as I can think of going back. We've always had libraries. So you should never lose important information, because you always have to learn from the past to improve the future. And when you have a library that's easily accessible at the click of a button, which can show you all incidents related to, for example, smoking at a gas plant, you can use that data for induction training to ensure that things don't happen again, right? So that is what smart backup should be. Backup should be such that you can take terabytes of data, convert it into gigabytes, and ensure, and I hope there are some policemen on this panel as well, men and women, and ensure that even if your recorder is stolen, destroyed, or somebody tampers with it, you will never lose the data. That is what smart backup should be. So you should have a very cost-effective disaster recovery mechanism. So 3 things in backup: 1, terabytes to gigabytes; 2, the idea of creating an institutional library which is very well categorized, that can be accessed back at the click of a button after years to come; and 3, cost-effective disaster recovery mechanism. So that was my second point. I had 5 minutes. I think I'm done well. What else, Dr. Ashton? Well,
Yes,
you
sir.
wanted to speak about, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you already asked that. On the intelligent reporting bit, on the standardized intelligent reporting bit, very interesting part of the missing piece. Look, you will all agree with me that incidents do not differ by geography. An incident is an incident. Whether it's a non-compliance incident like the spitting incident that I spoke of, it's an incident. Because today in COVID times, it's a threat. And there was an incident in Delhi where a man came to a bank only to spit. For 19 days, the man was only spitting. It takes me back to my auditing angle, but I must speak about this. What were those cameras doing for 19 days? He was finally caught by either a customer or a guard or whatever. And then they realized that he's been coming there for 19 days because they went and looked at the footage. Instead of that, if they had done it on day 1, then the risk would only have been for 1 day. But anyway, so an incident is an incident, whether it's a criminal incident like a terror attack or a petty incident like chain snatching or whatever. An incident is an incident across the world. Now my question is, if incidents do not differ by geography, why should incident reports do? Every incident report essentially needs to answer only 7 questions across the world. 7 basic questions. You can have more than them, more than those 7 questions. But if you answered these 7 questions, you've done your job. What are those 7 questions? What, when, where, why, who? The 5 W's. 1 H. How? 7th question is, do you have evidence? In these days, the evidence is generally in the form of video. Now, what if you had a tool, which is what our software is, that could create an exceptional incident report like this, which is standardized in nature, comes in a wonderful, simple template with all the basic information on slide 1 in PowerPoint, almost automatically. Of course, you'll have to key in, but the generation of PowerPoint is completely automatic. You don't have to touch PowerPoint. So the first slide has all the basic information, and basic information also includes this. So what was so peculiar about the date, Diwali, or early morning, or secluded area? Because we've used the word intelligent reporting. And when you use these kind of templates that are intelligent in nature, that take this metadata from you, they start giving you trends and patterns. They start telling you that every Friday afternoon between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock, which is when people are in a rush normally, at gate number 4, we are seeing more mobile thefts maybe. So when you are empowered with historical data and you know that a tool like Excel can show you, give you even trends and patterns, use it. That's my tagline always about video footage. Use it, don't lose it. Anyway, coming back to the incident report. The second slide has the 1H, the description, people, witness, action taken, action recommended. The third slide, because I often get a question about, will this be admissible in a court of law? And I will answer that. But the third slide has the incident log, audit trail, details, and so on. And the fourth slide, even if your recorder is stolen, gone, destroyed, tampered with, you can still find the data, the video, and the software will create it into a video and dump it into a PowerPoint. So what did you do by creating this kind of a PowerPoint? You made the job of law enforcement and the police extremely easy. Because it's in PowerPoint, you would simply need to email it to the investigating officer, who in turn emails it to his or her boss, who in turn says, this act probably has been committed by a gang from so-and-so state. Let's forward this email and this PowerPoint to the police there. And guess what? Because everything is standardized across the country, there is no more confusion. Everybody speaks the same language. So this is what intelligent incident reporting is all about. Standardized, intelligent incident reporting. So that's the third missing piece of video surveillance. Hope I've answered your question, Dr. Azra.
Yes, sir. Again, we agree, sir. There is a definite need for standardization in the industry, because when there is a standardization, everyone speaks the same language, and that takes away the confusion. So now let me now get to the final question. Please throw some light on ComSER's national service and its societal purpose.
Oh, thank you for asking that question. But allow me to very quickly just speak to a few more lines about ComSER,
Yes,
just for the benefit of people. So CCTV, please remember, is not just about crime. It's multiple benefits from all the way from homeland security, compliance, operational efficiency, health and safety issues, and so on. And please visit our website and you'll know. See, it is not just about crime. It will help from the CEO to CSO, and you will see when you click on learn more, you will see what we mean. We already spoke about this new profession, CCTV video footage auditors. For security companies, this is an amazing opportunity, because security, unfortunately, is taken as an expense item. Now, the same security company can go to the same customer and say, now I will help you to reduce your costs, your claims, your insurance. I will ensure that there is no theft taking place, that people are working nicely, that they are safe. It's not just about being a policeman all the time. It's also to ensure that you're doing this for somebody's safety. So it's a fabulous opportunity for them to offer this as a service. Augmented intelligence, we spoke about that, when human and machines work together. So the beauty about ComSER is that HI, which is human intelligence, is there all the time. AI when you need it. This is what artificial intelligence should be. AI when you need it. And the beauty again of ComSir is that because of the way it works, it creates from live video, it's continuously generating images. And these images can become the food, the fodder for AI models, which will deliver better results because they come with lesser bias. That's a big problem with AI models. This is the market size for ComSir. From an airport to a zoo, A to Z, wherever there is a video surveillance camera and of any kind. So whether it's CCTV, drone, body worn, UAV, your mobile phone, if there is a video, there should be investigation and auditing. Otherwise, everything is incomplete. Elegant, efficient, easy. We've already seen that. Let me come to our societal purpose. It's beautiful video. So let me show it to all of you. See this. What does this video show you? Vulnerable targets. Akshardham, terror attack. We've had instances recently in Andhra Pradesh. I already spoke about what happened in New Zealand, what happened a few months later in Sri Lanka. These are vulnerable targets. Children, vulnerable targets. Animals at zoos, vulnerable targets. Because we are so convinced that ComSir is an answer, the business version of ComSir is being made available completely for free. So we will not charge for the software. There is a small administration fee. And of course, you know, the integration has to be done by the CCTV integrator and so on. All places of worship, irrespective of religion, world over, not just about India. Our national service is restricted to India, but this is world over. All low budget government schools world over. And all zoos across the world over. This is our societal purpose. As far as our national service is concerned, I'm very happy to tell this audience that the highest version of ComSir comes in 6 versions, the highest version of ComSir. And we just made an installation at one of the districts where I am currently living, and they simply loved it. I hope they are attending this event, but they simply loved it. I'm so happy that we have been of use to them. As a national service, the highest version of ComSir is being made available for free to the entire Indian police, including state police, entire Indian paramilitary force, and the entire Indian defense forces. Now it's only a matter of time that this gets adopted by them, and it's made in India. So we would like the Indian forces, of course, after their natural, obviously, due diligence and utility value that goes without saying, to use it and also help nations that are friendly to India, because it's important for us to be globally safe. We can't be safe if if the world is not safe. So we can take a lead. As we all know, Aryabhat gave 0 or shunya to the world. Our belief is that we would be able to give Suraksha to the world. So with this, Dr. Azra, I rest my case. I was hoping to actually show some use cases and show the software working, but I don't want to take up any more time. If there are any questions, I would be very happy to answer them. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. There are some questions here that has been posted. I do hope that this webinar has indeed been a great eye-opener for everyone, and that every user of CCTV and video surveillance will take the necessary steps in order that they benefit in multiple ways and achieve maximum return on their investments. Now, we have few questions. One of the questions which we have got, since we are already running short of time, only few questions we will take it up here, sir. One such question is, can we revisit slide 3? Please, among 4 slides of audit report. Slide number 3 among 4 slides of audit report. One of the participant has.
Let's take that last because I'll have to get into the sharing of the screen again. Or the participant can contact me.
Yes, sir.
Sure,
sir.
I'm happy to give my
I'll
email
just
address.
share. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I will
let's just share the
share.
email address, just the email
Yes,
address
sir.
on the chat.
Just a second, sir. I will share the. This is the contact which. This is the email ID that everybody can contact on. All your
Yes.
posted queries will be addressed. Both the email IDs can be taken up, and all your queries will be taken up. So cctvresearch@gmail.com and contact@cctvr.org. So we'll move on to the next session. Dear participant, such seminars, we will have such upcoming events organized by the CCTV Research. You can all make benefit of these types of webinars. We have the next webinar scheduled on an overview of video surveillance system, which will be delivered by Mr. T. Shankar. He's the head of projects and research, CCTVR Research Center. And we are also planning to conduct 1 week certification course in video surveillance. So this is the upcoming events that are organized by our CCTV Research Center. So with this, I would take this privilege to propose the vote of thanks. Firstly, I would like to thank management of RV College of Engineering, especially our principal, Dr. Kane Subramanya, for his continuous support in all the activities of CCTV Research Center. I would extend my thanks to the speaker of today's session, Mr. Gautam. Thank you, Gautam sir. Thank you very much for your wonderful talk. I extend my thanks to the entire ComSol team for their cooperation in floating this webinar. Sincere thanks to our core team members for CCTV Research Center, Mr. Sanjay Sahai sir, Shankar sir, head of CCTV Research, Dr. Ramakant sir, Dr. Sri Lakshmi ma'am, and all the other members for their continuous support, especially Rashmi madam for organizing and coordinating this webinar. And thanks to all the participants who have joined this webinar from various diverse groups of maybe educational institutions, law enforcement agencies, police departments, and various such groups. Thank you all. Thank you for joining this webinar. A feedback link is being posted in the chat. Please provide your feedback. And if you have any 1 or 2 questions, we can just go through them. There is one such question, sir. Can I take up, sir? Gautam, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Is there a CCTV evidence maintenance clause in any of the Indian compliances?
So different states have different clauses.
Okay.
So there isn't a national protocol so far. We hope that this center will help to build that.
Hope that question is answered. So with this, we come to the end of the session. Thank you, Gautam, sir. Thank you for the
Thank you very
wonderful
much.
talk.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for sparing your time and for hearing me out. And I do hope that this will be helpful to you.
Thank you all.
Somebody wanted to see slide number 3. Shall we do it?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can get that.
The participant is asking continuously for slide number 3.
Yeah.
We can go for that.
1 second. Just you'll have to give me a minute.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
So that is the slide 3, which the participants were asking.
I'm happy to send it to the center or they can take a picture of the screen. That's not a problem.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So that's it then. Shall we?
Any of the Indian government? Okay. Yes, sir. We can close. If there are any
Okay.
queries, they can post very well to the center's email
Center.
ID, then that will be addressed. Thank you,
Great.
sir. Thank you one
Thank
and all
you
for
very
joining
much,
this session.
everybody, and have a nice
Thank you
evening.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir.
Jai Hind.
Bye.